Hi and welcome. Thanks for joining today. Today's webinar is about automation and integration and how that can save businesses. We are putting this webinar on to showcase how you can save through automation, you can increase revenue, and really look at ways of improving business process right across your business through simple integrations. I'm joined today by Rajiv Singh, who I'll introduce shortly. Wanted to just sort of run through what we're going to cover off today, and that is that we'll go through how we identify the conventional, often costly, disjointed processes that occur within our businesses and those that we've identified within our customers. We'll then go through some simple ways that you can actually introduce automation and how those integrations can add to your business rather than having to distract. And finally, we'll cover off how, with partnering with RingCentral, some of the integrations that they have inherently built within the platform can really help assist your business. For me, I'll just do a brief introduction on what I do. My background has been in telecommunications over the past 20 years, and I've seen a vast range of customers go from the very, very basic through to the absolute complex on the other end of the scale. And seeing the level of productivity they get through integrations over the years, whether that's from a unified comm system to their sales system, whether it's from their mobile platform being attached into their unified comm system as well as all of their back-end systems. You know, the systems that you don't necessarily see as integrated often are, and they're the ones where you have a seamless experience with. And so for me, I like to share that experience because I think that as if we share that with all businesses, we can really help them take that journey on from a completely disjointed system through to a process-driven and automated system where it can really help their businesses grow. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm joined by Rajiv Singh, who has kindly agreed to come on and co-host today's webinar. Rajiv is the sales director at F7 Digital Networks. Rajiv, I'll hand over to you so that you can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, obviously as Justin introduced, Rajiv Singh. I've been in the telecommunication, managed services and IT business for last 15 to 18 years. And worked with all the major telecommunication providers, managed services and IT services, and seeing how they've evolved in course of time and how their customers have also evolved in course of time. What are the practices they were doing previously in the past and how they evolved, and they're adapting new technology and integration and automation in their businesses, and how it has helped them and basically ease the businesses in terms of productivity and increasing revenue. F7 Digital Networks is a IT managed service and telecommunication provider, and obviously consults in this particular area, very specifically for medium to large enterprises. I think today we are going to have a webinar in relating to automation and integration, what is good, what has worked for people and what has not worked for people, and how RingCentral can assist in basically integrating your systems in terms of your voice side of things and your CRM side of things, and also your customer satisfaction all along with it. So let's take it through it. Yes, Justin.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Rajiv. I also just want to make note of an offer that we've put out there for this particular webinar, in that we're providing all attendees with a $1,500 business automation workshop. So you qualify for that. If you've registered for this webinar, we'll be in touch with you to tee up a time to have that scheduled and actually run through how we can help you automate your business process. First topic we want to go through is really how you go about identifying those conventional, often costly and disjointed processes, you know, and some of the pain points that come with that. Team members spending countless hours typing the same information into multiple systems. So when you go from one system to typing in notes from a customer or an interaction with a client, and then you've got to transpose that over into another system so that you've got it for record keeping, there's a simple duplication process there that's occurring, and it doesn't need to happen. And that's a simple one. Research has shown that employees are having approximately 5 apps open, that they're transposing information between those 5 apps, which is simply unnecessary in today's day and age, where technology should be working for us, not us working for technology. It's frustrating for employees as much as it's frustrating for customers on the other end. Rajiv, have you experienced this as well with your customers?
Definitely, even not only with my customers as well as the organization I work for, Justin. What I've noticed is if the delivery of your product and services to your end customer is not done in a timely manner, and it takes forever to deliver your services, so the profitability of any organization will reduce. You'll never have the full benefit of your products and services. So when organizations are, what I've seen is they all work in silos, different areas of from sales to their operations to their delivery to actually the billing and to the end customer. So they all work in silos, and because of that, they're using different multiple applications, and these applications don't work together very well. And so there's always duplication, as you mentioned before, Justin. And this duplication creates one frustration for the employees, for the staff of the business, plus frustration for the customer who is not getting the product on time the way it was promised by the salesperson.
Yeah, and that sort of goes to the next point, which really talks about how you're sort of overlapping between both your internal communication and the external communication with your customers. Yeah, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Big time.
Engaging with customers poorly, you start to lose customers. Studies have shown that both Gen Z and millennials cut ties with a company after a poor customer experience just on one occasion. They've either had to replicate information that they share with a rep, they've been passed from one person to the next, and having to replicate that same information or repeat their same story again and again. And that happens more than 5 times a year with a number of companies that they deal with. Now, if we can minimize that with the company that they're dealing with, if it's your business, then we can minimize the loss of customers and the loss of revenue that goes hand in hand with that.
Very true, Justin. Because the thing is, when a company or customer or an organization is making products and services, they have multiple products and they are targeted to different sort of demography. For example, Gen Z, millennial, they have a different kind of approach towards basically for communication. Whereas Generation X or baby boomers, they have a different expectations. So now we need, and as an organization, we need to cater our products and services to the market which we are basically addressing our products and services to. So obviously it has to be very relevant. Now, what I think is the consumers are driving the communication a lot. That's why our business are adapting it. If you look at Gen Z and Gen Y or millennials, we want instant answers. So you just type in and you should get the answer. That's how it is. That's why most organizations, went through the websites, they have this chat section where they can get instant information on any product or service, where a chat rep can actually get back to the customer straight away. Sometimes if the contact center solution is not set up correctly, right, it takes forever for the agent to pick up the call because obviously the structure is not there and it's relying on multiple applications within an organization. It's quite critical for organization to understand end users and how they need to communicate with the external users, especially Gen Z, millennials, or Generation X. Yeah.
I think for us, we typically dealt with corporations in the past. So for us, dealing with business to business environment. And so we understand the pain points that they're experiencing in that internal communication. However, what we're talking about today as well is that there's consumers, the end consumers, that don't necessarily understand what an integration is, let alone how it impacts their experience. One of the things that we share as a business, and I know you do from speaking with you in the past, is that we talk about how the pain of having this disjointed communication with your customers really impacts what you do. So if we can improve that internal communication, if we can improve that internal process, we can really make a shift as to how the external customer then views your business.
Yeah, I agree with you, Justin, completely. External communication from the end customer coming into the internal communication, that is very critical. Now, even if you look at it like simple, you go to a website nowadays and it doesn't open in 2.5, 3 seconds. What do? The next, you're not interested. You'll go to another one, which responds quickly to you, right? Time is money for us. Time is important for everyone.
75% of customers would prefer to do household chores than talk with an inefficient chatbot in the corner of their screen. I know from my own experience, I've been on chatbot experience for 3 hours at one point, which is, crazy to think. 3 hours of my time spent talking with a chatbot trying to get something achieved that couldn't be done over the phone. There's such a poor customer experience for me, and speaks nothing to the company that sits behind that.
So obviously it comes back to integration again and automation. Like if the chat box integrate correctly with your back-end systems, then obviously things would be different. But obviously you're not having a good experience there because it's not done. Yeah.
No. The other part as well that's important to reflect on as well when we talk about this around that disjointed technology and communication is that not only does it impact your end customers, it can really affect employee satisfaction as well. Because if your employees are only having to copy and transpose between different applications, as I mentioned earlier, they're actually inhibiting them and hindering their job because they can't get things done in an efficient manner. And so that then comes across in their employee satisfaction, and that then comes across in their tone as an individual towards their customers that they're dealing with, if they're frontline staff. So it can be incredibly infuriating at all levels of the organization. I pose it as a question to you then, Raj. Where have you seen examples of these poor integrations directly impact a customer?
So ultimately what happens if their inquiry is not resolved, even if it's resolved after a long time, they normally have seen notes on social media and Facebook or Instagram that particular provider wasted so much of my time. I'm done with them. I'm going to leave them and join somewhere else. And obviously all their friends and family, obviously they get influenced by it and so on. It creates a bad repute and perception about that company. So if all because of one external communication is not held in a nice integrated and automated way, creating bad customer experience, you get a very bad reputation and perception in the market. So that's where I've seen, and I won't name the companies, but it's quite common. A lot of people do that now.
We've all had a similar experience where we've had that poor resolution, poor communication, and then we have seen, whether it's ourselves or friends and colleagues who then use social media to address that. If you are able to put things in place that mitigate that and reduce that risk by having simple integrations, then that goes a long way. I want to talk now about simple ways that you can introduce automation and integrations into your business systems. There's 4 key ways of integrating, and that is around one's around productivity, customer relationship management, automation in terms of like a single log on, the delivery of your customer support. Raj, can you think of examples that you've seen where you've seen really, really great integration in terms of productivity, for example, for the first one, that you've seen with your customers and how they've used it throughout their business?
So what I've seen, one of these organizations, I won't name it again, I've seen their automation is fantastic, and because of that, the year-on-year growth of profit is around 30% per year after tax, which is incredible in today's environment. Though other companies are not making that much profit, they are continuously doing that because one, the automation and integration of the application, and secondly, the time and the way it's done. It reduces the life cycle of the product to be delivered to the customer, and the revenue starts billing very quickly. So you deliver the product, you start billing in a short span of time, and that's where the company gains, as well as customers more satisfied and never want to leave you because you delivered on promise.
So can I be really specific then, Raj? At what point do they, let's say there's a sales engagement with a customer. At what point do they start the integration to flow from original engagement all the way through?
Okay, so it's very simple. They had 4 stages of that. So the moment the sales rep engages with the customer and an opportunity is created, the opportunity is created in the system, in the CRM, right? Then obviously all the data, all the product services which the customer wanted to buy has been put into the CRM, priced, and it is also integrated with their commercial team, which commercial team automatically updates the pricing, what is required for the customer to buy it. And once that is done, all the contracts are generated within that particular CRM system, which are digitally sent to the customer with all the details of their sites and products they want to buy. And customer signs digitally on the contract, comes back into the system, the contract is closed, and that's integrated with their provisioning team and project management team. So a project manager is dedicated to that particular project straight away, and the provisioning team gets the order from the contract and they start provisioning the services, which is done to the field force services also. So all the engineers are aware of it. They have access to the system. They go and do the job, deliver the product to the customer, and it's all set and customer gets the product in time. without going into multiple systems. It's all interlinked into each and every through one CRM. And that way, I mean, you look at it, the product delivery is so quick that customer gets the product and starts billing. So that way the revenue starts flowing within months, not 6 months, 12 months down the line, because it's all automated. There's no duplication. There's only one system and just goes through it, different processes, and everyone's linked to it. So that is the beauty of that. So I've seen that live, and that's amazing.
Yeah, of course, because you're talking about, you're talking from your initial communication with the customer, and then recorded in a CRM.
Yep.
And then that flows the entire way through. It's they're great examples of where we see, and I've seen it myself as well, where that simple integration with a CRM makes all the difference, because it means that you're capturing everything from the word go, as well as future communications, and any customer support request as well that comes through is still tagged against that customer. So we end up seeing not just a list of calls made and that I've made that phone call, or if the agent chooses to log that they made a call, it's integral because it's the two are linked together. So you end up with a communication that's clear and concise with the information for the representative to speak to that customer about, and then that being recorded in the CRM, so it's against that customer name, which then continues their life cycle of that customer whilst maintaining revenue for you as a business.
Yes, perfect. Because customer support, as you mentioned, Justin, is very important, because when you have all the integration automation done, you see a customer calls, okay, and they're already registered in the system. You know, the sales, the contact center rep, he addresses by the name. Hi, Mr. John Citizen. How are you doing? How can I help you? Yes. Because the API and the CRM prompts the name of the customer, and that makes it such a good customer love it, because they're recognized and they've given a personalized touch and it's a good example of customer service where the organization knows their customer.
Yeah. Raj, can I ask you a question around, this is more around productivity rather than a customer engagement.
Yeah.
With the productivity and your customers, have you seen examples where people are making use of their day-to-day business systems, and let's take the biggest one, Microsoft. You know, the percentage of Microsoft users is enormous. Obviously, there are a growing number moving over to Google as well now, but Microsoft still is the largest. Do you see integrations where they're utilizing Microsoft as their core communications in terms of mail and desktop platforms, and then linking the two with their communications platform?
Oh, yes, Justin, very, very much. Most of the people, customers I'm coming across, they're moving towards the Teams environment. And because the Teams environment is a completely unified and which can work very well with hosted telephony and online chatting within and sharing files. And I see there's a big drive towards moving towards Teams, and that's a big potential for every business to move towards the environment and make it very unified, one system, one platform, and whole organization is basically in touch with each other. And especially even for your voice telephony services, chat telephony, Team integrates with all the online hosted telephony PBXs, and through all the SIP channels. It's a fantastic platform which works very well, and it's all hosted. So you don't require any maintenance on it. And most of the people who know Teams or Microsoft service, they know what Teams are.
Yeah.
And so
we're seeing the same as well with our customers, is that they've been a Microsoft user for years, and so they're making use of the entire platform. They've paid for the E2 or E3 license, and so they want to make use of that Teams environment, but they're not integrating it with their external communication. And so what we've done is actually assist with that integration piece there to help that flow of information from internal to external as well. So they're actually able to seamlessly make a phone call. For us, it's RingCentral, but we've seen it integrated with other platforms as well, where you can actually make those phone calls. You have the messaging inherent within Teams, but you're able to see everything within the RingCentral platform. It's it's a great integration that means that people are able to take out the information and have group messaging to help with a dispersed workforce, particularly in these times where we're seeing, throughout that lockdown period, throughout COVID, we're seeing businesses have to locate their call center staff from home. And so when they're needing to have open dialogue and communication that would have been in a call center environment where the agent sits next to them, they're able to lean over or ask their supervisor for information. Now they have group messaging that they share either within RingCentral or within Teams, and the flow of information between the two is seamless.
Yeah.
How have you seen customers utilize automation to improve their productivity?
Places where I worked and my customers they have moved on to a single sign-on process. One, it's efficient. Second, it's a safe way to secure the application without downloading anything extra, right? And also, when you access all these apps at one place and one portal, it's very easy to use them, and it's efficient, and it's less time consuming and less confusing for the employees, and which creates a good employee experience in terms of using applications. So productivity increases. So single sign-on is the way to go, and I see most organizations are adapting to that and moving towards single sign-on.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. Yeah.
But I think applications that allow single sign-on and allow you to have that integration between them is such a pivotal piece of business, because, as you say, it improves employee satisfaction because they're able to sign on between applications seamlessly. But not only that, the customer isn't then impacted whilst they're not waiting for someone to log into something else. Similarly, it's not impacting their internal flow of information when they're actually working on their business and saying, I just need to log into something else. They can actually go and just simply follow the flow.
Yep, that is correct.
Okay. The last one I wanted to talk to was around customer support and how simple automations and integrations can help with enhancing delivery of that customer support, which we talked to a little bit before.
Yep.
Have you seen how that's improved, having an integration with customer support and delivery?
Where I worked and what I've seen in the industry, if the customer, right, for your customer, your organization customer, you need to be very passionate about them, and they need to feel that they are being serviced well. And by servicing well, what I mean is you need to know your customers very well. So if you have a good database, right, and you have integrated systems with your CRM, like I mentioned before, a call comes from an authorized rep of any business who is entitled to access company information. The name should pop up, to just give a greeting. Okay, hello, Mr. So-and-so. Thanks for calling us. How can I help you? Which makes the customer at ease. And obviously the conversation between the agent and the customer flows very well because you know the customer. Yeah. So, and a lot of professional businesses, they are deploying this technology because this is very critical. And customer satisfaction, customer support, these are key things you want to hold on to your existing customers. Because nowadays, if you see during COVID-19 changes, not many customers are changing providers. Most of the customers are organizations focusing on their customers to hold on to them, look after them better and well, so they don't leave them, right? So it's very critical to have a strong and good customer support. If you don't have the right automation and integration into your end systems and providing good customer service to your customers, the chance they will leave. And it's very hard to win new businesses for organization because people are reluctant to move.
And I think certainly from what I've seen, it's about accessing the data that you have as an organization. If you, it's great if you've got information on the customer, but if the agent can't, the customer support person or agent can't access that information, it's of no use.
Yep.
If they've got access to it and they can say, oh, look, hello, Mr. Smith. I see last time you called, you had a problem with X, Y, or Z. Were you happy with the resolution? is there anything else we can do here? Or it might even be that last time you called, you ordered A, B, and C. Are you in need of more of those? How else can I help you? Utilizing the data that we now have at our fingertips, being readily available for our customer support teams to access is going to be a huge lever for customer retention, because people want to feel connected. People want to feel that they are known and recognized, regardless of whether they're a small customer or the largest customer. If you can give that experience that they are loved and known by you as an organization, then they're going to feel better connected, and therefore readily keep their business with you, I think.
Yep, very much agree. So just one of the point which I want to add is productivity, customer CRM, automation, customer support. All of these have one key thing, which I think in olden times, I would say 10 years back, 15 years back, people were to achieve all these things. You need to purchase lots of hardware on site or in data center to basically have that managed and have that maintained and buy on a capital cost and put in all these hardware together. And it was a long process and to configure it and all that. But in today's world, if you see it, you don't need any of the hardware. It's all in the cloud. All you gotta do is just put everything in the cloud, whether it's Microsoft Azure or AWS or Google Cloud, and you can host all your servers, information, your telephony. It's all in the cloud, and it's a simple process getting access to it and just configuring it. And no maintenance required is done by the cloud provider. All your application, everything, I would say cloud is the way. Most of businesses are adapting it and adapted a lot, and still you have to go, because obviously some didn't want the data to go overseas. So private, hybrid, or people are going for multi-cloud strategy, and some are coming back to base by hosting their own private cloud. So cloud is the way to go, and you don't have to have that hardware by the capital cost.
It's so true. Yep. It's a great point that you make, Raj. I think in the past, the people had to have fixed hardware and server rooms and boxes of things and IT teams that then ran that. We now live in a cloud environment where it's as simple as plug and play. I think it makes a massive difference, because what used to be intimidating and scary to have to go and do that work and that integration is now far simpler to do, because you have plug and play integrations. We'll talk in a second to what RingCentral do, but most of the cloud applications that I come across, and no doubt that I know that you work with as well, have that capability to integrate across platform, and that in itself makes this integration and automation process so much simpler, so much simpler for to take on board and start to work with. Yeah, really interesting point. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I guess what I wanted to talk to you now is some of the stuff that RingCentral do. I know you are also working alongside us around RingCentral and how we bring this to our customers, by bringing all of those communications together. That RingCentral is actually an API first platform, so it enables your collaboration platform to be that key pillar. So if you think about it as the key pillar in your organization, and then every other integration is tied into that, all of your communication, but if we can have that tied into everything else that you do with those back-end systems. The example you spoke about before, Raj, where you mentioned that the initial conversation with the customer tied all the way through to the implementation and the project managers. That's the back-end systems that customers don't necessarily need to be aware of, but made a huge difference to how their revenues generated and to their customer experience.
Yep.
I've actually got an interesting quote that's come from one of our customers that I'll share with you, where they spoke about how they wanted things to be in the future. And so they spoke about collaboration platform that capture this considerable amount of information, that if it's not used, it just resides there as dark data. Now, that's not necessarily just the phone calls, but who called, when they were called, and why they called. and that generally resides in that unused history, that dark data. But if we use, they used their intelligent API platform within RingCentral that enabled their data to provide another avenue so they could gain value and insights about their customers and their supplier interactions as well. But not just about that specific piece of individual data, but how that can influence their insights across a broad spectrum of data inputs, so that they can actually begin to draw analytics across the business and actually look for key points where they can actually grow their business. So that was for them one of their biggest call outs, was not just the initial benefits that they got from the integration, but also the analytics and the insights that they could draw from that. Yep. Have you seen similar things done with whether it's using BI or other business analytic tools?
Justin, the information about customer and the previous conversation is very key. I've seen a lot of contact center solutions. They are integrated with the CRM, through that whenever a customer calls, they get all the information about that particular customer. It extracts information from the database. Okay, this is what the products they have, these are the services they have, these are the conversation, these are the issues fixed. So when you are servicing a customer, good contact center solutions are providing all this information, and there are not many of them. So it's up to the customer as well as a provider like RingCentral to provide this information, which is very critical for any business to operate, as well as to provide a good customer satisfaction. To have all the information ready. But obviously the information has to be harnessed. It has to be readable. It has to be, like you could quantify it. So obviously the more we have access to that, it's good. But a lot of people are not able to access the information still, as you said, the dark data sitting there. But how you use that, that's what makes the difference. Yeah.
And look, the one of the things for us that what were some of the key points why we selected RingCentral to partner with was that they have over 180 pre-built integrations, so that we don't have to do a huge amount of work with an end customer to get them onboarded onto an integration. You know, that as you said, it's it doesn't need a huge amount of coding. It doesn't need massive teams to work through that. It's simply a case of saying, this is the integration that we currently use. So for example, Salesforce is one of them. Integrating Salesforce with RingCentral gives you that key pillar of your communication, along with that core data that you spoke of, and that allows you to have that interaction with the customer. And then flow that information all the way through the organization. Although it's called Salesforce, it's not necessarily just for the sales organization. There are other parts of the business, as you mentioned, the implementation team, that is able to access that information that's captured. They then take that and feed that back through to the customer, capturing a digital signature that's then recording the contract in a single location. You've got a record of all of the call history or communication, or whether it's chats that you've had in a chat conversation. It's all recorded there in that single platform, so that you're then able to use that data to draw on to help either the customer or, as I mentioned before, to draw insights.
That is brilliant.
So as I mentioned before, some of the key points that really interested us when we did RingCentral as a partner have massively helped our customers already. And now, as we work more and more with customers around their integrations, we see how RingCentral's established portfolio of integrations is there to help with that productivity. So they do the integration with Microsoft, it's straight out of the box, it works. The customer relationship management, that also a seamless integration, whether it's an Oracle that they're using, whether it's a Salesforce. There's a number of different other platforms out there that readily available for RingCentral customers to connect into. Automation, the single sign-on, it's It's a seamless process to select the integration and actually get that up and running for our customer. And then overarching that is that customer support. Once they've got those integrations in place, it means that we are able then to provide that pillar. They're able then to go into how they communicate best with that customer, whether it's looking into the CRM, whether it's connecting back into their Microsoft systems to see where they've had engagement with the customer. Those things are now integrated into one, which means for a seamless customer experience. It's a really nice ecosystem that they've built and to be part of, as we're seeing across our entire customer base. That's covered all the points I wanted to go through with you today. Thank you, Rajiv, for joining today. I really appreciate your input and sharing your thoughts and information you've had around your customers and what you've seen in business, whether that's in the past or your current customers. It's always insightful to hear what others are doing. So thank you for taking the time, Raj.
You're welcome, Justin.
Is there anything else you wanted to add at this point?
I just wanted to ask, how are we going to assist RingCentral potential customers? What support can we provide in terms of they want to scope out the current requirements? Is there anything which we can do here?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, thank you. It's a good point, actually, because it leads to my last one, which is the offer we put out at the start, which is we're offering a $100 automation at no charge to anyone who's attended this webinar. And what that means is you'll get access to a choice of RingUC solution architect, a contact center designer, analytics engineer, or project engineer that will work through topics like integrations, automations, and other challenges that you might have around specific business needs. And that's what we're putting out there for our customers. Anyone who's joined this webinar and listened, we will then reach out and make a time to actually go through that with them. Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you, Raj. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and no doubt we will speak again soon. Thank you to everyone who's joined and participated in this webinar. We appreciate you coming along, and we look forward to speaking with you in the near future.
Yeah. Thank you. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.